Hey, Diana, did you know the harder I work, the luckier I get?
Mark, that's the dumbest thing you've ever said.
Ladies and gentlemen, jurists and just curious, welcome to the Successful Barrister podcast. Here you'll learn about marketing, management, and life skills for lawyers that probably won't get you disbarred. Hosted by Marc Whitehead, a seasoned lawyer who remembers when fax machines were cutting edge, and Diana Berry, attorney, COO, and the brains behind the scenes. Together, they are the legal world's most dynamic duo since statutes met regulations. So if you're looking to build a practice, not a prison, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Successful Barrister, where legal legends are made.
And welcome to the Successful Barrister podcast, the podcast for lawyers and law firm leaders about marketing, management, and life skills that probably won't get you disbarred. I am your host, Marc Whitehead, alongside my host, my co-host, my number one, my COO, Diana Berry. Hey, Diana, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you, Mark?
All right, so we're here on a rainy Monday.
Yeah, that seems to be par for the course for Houston this year.
It is. It rains just enough, so it is as stupid, sticky, humid, hot.
Well, it's always stupid, sticky, humid, hot.
But it's
Whatever.
even more humid.
But it's not hurricane rain, so we are grateful.
Yeah, it's coming.
Don't say that.
And
Just don't.
It's
Hey, Mark, if we get lucky,
yeah.
and this was truly lucky, we won't have a hurricane this summer.
Okay.
But since we're talking about luck today, hopefully, I don't think John Morgan would use luck that same way.
Right. So today we are going to talk about our friend John Morgan. He has a new book out called Life is Luck. Lessons from a Paperboy about how to improve your luck. So I was reading this as I was trekking through Italy with my family. And every now and again, I would sneak off and read a chapter here, a chapter there. So anyway, for those who don't know, and I can't imagine there's many people who don't know who John Morgan is the founder of Morgan & Morgan, by far the largest personal injury law firm in the country. They seem to be branching out everywhere. And I know a lot of people that are friends with, are wringing their hands. Oh no, John Morgan is moving into our area. And I'm like, well, maybe you ought to take a little time and figure out what John's doing and maybe figure out some of the things that he knows. He's written, this is his third book that he's written. Maybe you should go read his book and figure out a little bit about what he's doing. So,
And he does podcasts. He was on the Atticus C. Riley's podcast.
He was.
So it wasn't.
He is
not
everywhere.
where to find out what's
I will say this, that John is not shy about telling you, what he knows. He just had a big summit in Las Vegas. I didn't get to go because I was in Italy, but
I was not, but I still didn't get to go.
yeah, well, I know. But anyway, so he freely gets away what he's doing, so it's not hard. So why not learn from the biggest, the baddest, the best? So kind of the concept that he was talking about, and we all know lawyers that a lot of, at least a lot of people out there think are lucky. Like they get the biggest cases. They always seem to know the right people. They always seem to be in the right place at the right time. And a lot of people just sort of dismiss this as being lucky. And I think the argument that Morgan was making, is that luck isn't as random as most people believe. His argument in the book is that much of what people call luck is actually preparation, persistence, relationships, and taking action, taking risks. So I thought that really struck home with me. And so I thought we would probably do a bit of a podcast today on this because and thinking back, like, I think I'm a very lucky person. But then if I think about it, I'm like, well, I call some of my luck, and maybe the people I hang around with has helped me with my luck. So, these are all good concepts to think about. So anyway, I thought that we would do a podcast on this particular section of the book because I think everybody could learn a little bit from it.
So, Mark, I think that a lot of listeners are probably like, well, this is not me, because the whole thesis, I think, for your outline today, and I'll just go ahead and admit that I had not read the book. Only Mark has. So this is a bit of a book outline. But I think that most of our listeners, at least especially when I looked at the outline, I'm like, oh, well, this is not me. Like, the very definition of my job is to execute. But the thesis is that hope is not a business strategy. So for many of our attorneys, what does hope is not a business strategy look like, Marc?
So I think one of the best things, and I quote this saying all the time, is, you're made up of your atoms and your choices. Okay, so you can't control your genetics, you can't control your atoms, but you can certainly control your choices. And if you go back and look at it, everything that has happened to you, by and large, has happened because of a series of choices that you have made, either good choices or bad choices. That's what I say to my teenagers every time they left the house: make good choices. It's kind of cliche, but it's actually very, very true. So you make choices in life. You make choices about who to be around. You make choices about who to emulate. You make choices about, the skills that you try to learn. You make choices about, what you want to expose yourself to. There's all sorts of choices out there, both good and bad, that people make. One of the choices I just made is I just deleted Facebook off my phone.
Really?
Shockingly, now I still have it on my computer, but now I have to be deliberate about it. I can't just go doom scrolling for hours and hours on end, which my wife was always complaining about. And she was absolutely 100% right. I was killing time. Usually waiting on her to get dressed.
My gosh. I think we may need to edit that one
Well,
out.
no, I
But I
But,
think that
and that just a small example of small choices that you can make,
and I think that's the point, that it's somewhat you have to maximize those choices. That luck, the more luck you have, is because you have maximized the choices that you've made. And we're not talking about hard work today, because every lawyer here, you've gone to law school, you've passed the bar. Most listeners, I would dare say, are law firm owners, so they built a practice usually from nothing, or bought into a practice or of some sort. So we're not talking about the lack of hard work. We're talking about things that increase your opportunities, or your chances of being lucky.
right. You need to make a series of good choices, not based on hope, but based on actual thought, that will improve your odds. What's the mockingbird saying? May your something go with you. Come on, we got to figure this one.
Oh, that one, Hunger Games?
Hunger Games, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
Mockingbird was one of the.
yeah, it was, but let's not. Maybe we stay away from the teens killing each other off this episode so we don't get banned. But yes, may the odds be ever in your favor.
May the odds ever be in your favor.
So you have 6 or 7 points today, Marc, where you're going to talk through Morgan's newest book.
Yes. And when we get back, we're gonna help you improve your luck.
This podcast is sponsored by Marc Whitehead Associates, a national disability benefits law firm. Marc Whitehead runs a firm of over 60 dedicated people whose mission is to make a difference in the lives of our injured and disabled clients. Marc represents disabled claimants in Social Security disability, private disability insurance, and veterans disability claims in all 50 states. Marc Whitehead is double board certified in both Social Security disability law and personal injury trial law. Marc has litigated disability cases in over 40 states and counting, and can help your clients too. Stop throwing your phone calls away. Call Marc Whitehead at 701-VIP-LEAD. That's 701-VIP-LEAD. Or visit our website at disabilitydenials.com. Referral fees are paid in all jurisdictions where it is permitted. Refer us your disability cases today and know that your clients will be in good hands.
All right. So for clarification purposes, we are not advocating Hunger Games
Or condoning.
or condoning anything that was in that movie, although it was a great series of movies. I don't know why you hate it, but
But no.
it was a pretty evil premise. But, sometimes the best literature comes from evil premises. So,
But today we're talking about John Morgan's.
you ever read Homer, the Iliad?
I do have it.
Oh, yeah. There's some bad shit in there, too, man.
Well, today we're going to talk about John Morgan's literature.
Okay.
And
We're going to a whole different genre of literature.
So because I'm really actually fascinated. This is actually a touchy-feely subject for you, Marc, and so I'm really curious about it. And so your first point today from Morgan's book.
I think the first point is a lot of lawyers have a dangerous relationship with hope. Hope sounds productive. Just keep your chin up. We're gonna hope things get better. We're gonna trust things, and hope can be interchanged with the word trust. or believe. I hope that things are going to better. I trust that things are going to better. I believe that things are going to get better. How about you just do something proactively to make things better? You sit around and hope that, better cases are going to come in. Maybe your Google rankings are going to improve. Your associate finally gets it. The burnout feeling goes away. There's lots of people sit around and hope that things are going to get better. It's that sort of false sense of belief without any underlying action behind it. And I think what I would argue here, and I think what Morgan argued, was you need to replace hope with a plan. Every successful law firm eventually becomes systems driven. So you need to create a plan to develop your systems. Every successful lawyer eventually gets there, but only because of intentional work, intentional development on their skills. Winners don't simply hope. Winners actually execute on things.
And so I think that a couple of thoughts there, Mark, that one, visionaries is the weirdest thing because visionaries tend to be the law firm owners who tend to be the original lawyers, right? So with visionaries, your very job almost is to sit there and think and to process and come up with new ideas and kind of see where you want and just really dream about where the firm's going to go and where you want it to go. And that can feel like a lot of work, especially at different levels of the firm. And so I think that sometimes that visionary exercise can get confused with actual progress. But at some point, you have to actually put pen to paper and translate that vision in your head. Stop thinking about the vision in your head and actually move forward with that plan.
And we actually, at this firm, schedule time for that, kind of in multiple ways. Like, so for example, today we had our St. Pays lunch. This is where you and I get together, usually for 2.5, 3 hours, a long extended lunch. And then we drive our waiter crazy because he keeps asking if we want something else or can we hurry?
They were great, Spade.
Can we hurry and pay and get out of here? We will sit there forever. And we go through everything and we just talk, and we talk today about our vision. We talk today about, our BHAG and whether we need to adjust it or modify it. We have scheduled quarterly offsite meetings where we go and we basically spend an entire day with a third party integrator.
Implement.
I always get the wrong, kind of wrong.
But I think that one's a key one for our EOS listeners. I also think, Mark, this is a nuanced version, and I'm not taking a stab at you because we had such a nice lunch together, which was contrary to our morning, which was a little tense.
Because I was paying. Now that I'm not paying, she's going to slit my throat.
I do think that because I want our listeners to say, I see myself in that, because I think it's so easy to say, you know what, I get shit done. Now I'm the one cussing. When I can say, we're just going to go ahead and say, awesome, this one's going to be explicit. I'm sorry.
Fucking
man. But it's like, but I'm getting my rocks done. I am crossing things off my list. The firm's making money. Therefore, this doesn't apply to me. But I can say that it applies in different levels of your firm's growth. And so one of the things that Mark and I have come so much about for the last 6 to 7 months is the leads, right? Because one of the things that you as someone who's been in your practice for so long, it's like, you know what, this is a seasonal dip. This is expected. This is norm. And at some point, just understanding that this is seasonal or whatever, move from this is hope. I hope my leads are going to get better after Q4. I hope the Google algorithm's going to change in my favor again. At some point, everyone gets caught in the trap. And so I think that just because your firm's making money or just because you're crossing things off your list doesn't mean you can't find yourself in the satellite.
That was a I told you so twist.
It was the bias. And I'm so glad what he said. I'm so glad.
And I have a retort to that, but I'll save it for later. Y'all don't care.
So I do think, though, that, Mark, that there is an opportunity. So what is the second point from?
So the second point is that most people generally overestimate random luck. And Morgan's point here was there are two kinds of luck. There's luck you can't control, such as things like where you were born or how smart you are, which I think you can control slightly, but your family, timing. But there's luck that you absolutely can influence, your preparation, your relationships, your reputation, your visibility, your consistency. He listed a whole lot here. The point he made was business isn't a lottery. it's a probability. Every good decision slightly improves your odds.
So, in some of those things, especially because now we've talked about your origin story and the lessons learned from you for the last, leading up to episode 100, Mark, it does seem a bit like random luck. But what I think that I heard from your story is that what Morgan was saying about its probability, you compounded your probability. So with every decision that you made, you were able to stack one good decision or one good opportunity on top of the next and on top of the next to get to where you are today. And that's really all, that's not all luck is, but that increases your odds of getting lucky.
Right. I would say the way I would phrase it is like, I took a lot of very calculated, recoverable, small risks. In other words, I experimented with a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff I did fail, but I experimented enough that I eventually found some things and some ways and some skills that actually worked for me. In other words, I increased my probability of winning. I increased my odds because I just kept plugging away and kept trying more and more things. It's kind of like, how many ping pong balls does it take to win the lottery? Well, at some point, you get enough ping pong balls, your probability of winning the lottery is going to be increased. So probably a bad analogy.
I was just going to say, statistics, you would probably disagree.
I have a better one. So we get ping pong balls here at the office for working out. We have that lottery system. And probably the most ping pong balls you can get in a month, you get a ping pong ball every time you work out. If you're going to the lottery, the most you can get is 30. Is easily 60. Okay, well, it's 60. So you can get 2 a day.
This is a very complicated math formula for all you listeners, but you just can guarantee
we're just going to use
62. It's 62 is your max number of ping pong balls in our lottery.
But
email me if you want more information.
Email you, yeah, Diana with 3 N's at marcwhitehead.com.
62.
Right. So in other words, you can increase your probability of winning our little bitty lottery by the harder you work out, doing your workouts every month. So that's a good example. The more times you put yourself out there, the more chances you have at being successful. So if you never stick your neck out, if you never put yourself out there, the chance you're lessening your odds of, finding that quote unquote good luck that Morgan talks about.
Exactly. And going back to some of the things we talked about on episode 100, it wasn't the first AAJ conference where you knew nobody, but now you're at your, 20th or 25th where you can't walk into a room without someone flagging you down.
Well, whatever. Flagging me down.
And so, I think that's exactly what we're talking about. Just over time, you put your name in the ping pong ball, or I guess every time you attended, that was a ping pong.
Every time I go, I meet new people. Plus, I reinforce my relationship with other people. So,
just today, I got an email. Hey, Mark, see you at AJ.
I've had several emails today. People like, hey, let's get together. Or, you want to do this? I've been invited to multiple parties, and just this has just taken years and years to. Down popular. I'm with the cool kids.
I am not on.
It's took 6-8 years to get with the cool kids.
So what's Morgan's third point, Mark?
So most lawyers never create their own luck. So Morgan tells a story of creating his own luck by he did something that nobody else would do. Is he used to cold call himself other law firms and offer to handle their overflow litigation cases. And he would just literally walk in, and say, hey, I'm available. Send me what you can. And he goes, practically no other lawyers ever did that. So he was making his own luck by doing something that most lawyers would never do. Instead, he says most lawyers will wait, they'll hope, and then they wonder why nobody ever refers them business. I would say in my own version, I didn't cold call other lawyers, but what I did is I got on a damn plane. I've said this over the past few podcasts. I got out there. I went to things. I went to places. I went and met people. I went to, like you just mentioned, AAJ. The first time I went to AAJ, didn't know a soul. I was the kid in the corner, until I figured out the trick to go hang out with the vendors, because they're paid to be your friends. So it's true. They're paid to like you. They have to like you. So,
yep, they're paid to take you out.
They're paid to take you out. They're like, this is great. You're paid to be my friend. This is awesome. I love this. And you're going to pay my way and everything.
Well, and they also like making connections because then you're going to owe them something. So it's also a great symbiotic relationship.
So just today, I had a vendor that I've known. Actually, I knew his dad way back when, and he has now taken over his dad's company. So he wanted to reintroduce himself and he come over. He's offered us pizza. He's bringing us pizza.
I mean, this firm loves to eat.
I mean, we
I mean,
love food.
we do love food so much. It's a good investment.
This law firm.
You know, one of the things, Mark, that I noticed that was common in the stories you told with both Morgan and you is that you guys went to the opportunity, right? Like that
Yeah.
can't be set up, that you didn't wait for the opportunity to come.
We had to seek out the opportunity, and we got on a plane and we went to the opportunity.
And you put yourself in an uncomfortable position with no guaranteed return. And I think that that's, you know, one of the things that even if you can't or won't go, you know, to a downtown office and just start knocking on doors and offering yourself for their litigation services, you can send the cold email, you know, to say, hey, I know we're in HTLA together, like Houston Trial Lawyers Association together, and I'm, you know, wanted to talk to you about your practice. Can I buy you coffee? And I know so many people that find that so intimidating
I know.
just to send that one email.
You know, but you need to follow through. So let me just say this for a couple of young lawyers out there. So I'm thinking of you, and you know who are. There's at least 3 lawyers that I've run across lately, young lawyers, that, Mark, hey, I'd love to pick your brain. And I said, here's my card. Send me an email, or we'll go have a cup of coffee or something. Nobody's emailing me.
Really?
I was like, I'm very disappointed in them because they took the first step. They did the first step, which is, hey, they came up to me, and I love talking to young lawyers. You know, kind of feet. May you go with these may go. And I said, call me up. We'll go have coffee. We'll go have grab lunch or go have a beer or something. And then they don't follow up. That really is annoying. It is. I mean, you did the hardest thing. So I'm not.
I don't know about that, but I do agree that it is very intimidating. So maybe we should do.
Okay, so those of you who did that and are listening to podcasts, call me up, dude.
I think that we should do a future podcast on that. All right, that's self.
Okay, no self.
What is Morgan's fourth point, Mark?
So what looks like luck usually has a long backstory. So what people see, they'll see great marketing, they'll see successful firms, they'll see a national reputation, they'll see a firm that has a lot of revenue coming in. What they don't see behind it is the backstory, you know, the years of failure. You know, I've told about all of my failures, you know, bad hires, you know, wrong decisions, marketing experiments. Oh, I've pissed away so much money experimenting on different shiny objects in marketing. How funny. You know, how much money you've lost in the process, you know, sleepless nights. You know, success always has an invisible history. There's always a backstory that people don't see. And it's usually filled with lots of trial and error, lots of failures, lots of learning from your failures. And that's, I think, what people, you know, don't look at. So, you know, then that's what Morgan tried to lay out in his book. He gave a lot of examples. It's actually a pretty lengthy, in terms of chapters, book. But, you know, he gives a lot of stories about times where he tried and failed and tried and failed and tried and failed. And everything that he tried, but then what he learned from it and how he learned to, you know, apply what he learned from those failures into succeeding.
Yeah, so I actually wrote a barrister article on this topic because Dwayne Johnson, you know, the Rock.
The Rock.
The Rock, and that was, I think it was him. If not, I'm falsely attributing something that's really cool to him. He did an Instagram story, I think, during the COVID era. So that's how old the story is, but it's so clickable still because he did it on the B-roll, right? So in Hollywood, I don't know if you know this, but like, so whenever the cameras it's the stuff that makes it on the cutting room floor, or the things that when you're filming, the things that it's the backstory that people never really see. That's what I think Morgan, I would say, is kind of talking about here. It's the hard work you don't see, the times that he had to go to the gym and just working hard for an addition that he didn't get the callback on, right?
Yeah.
Or those types of things. And I think that that's the same thing.
Actors, prime example, how much failure they go through before they land the role.
So, well, and you know, we talk a lot about your mass tort success here, and not a lot, but we talk about the mass tort success you see. But I mean, I bet you could tell me so many mass torts that just you lost.
We tanked.
You lost some money.
We lost some serious money on some torts.
So,
Yeah.
but that's what, you know, and Morgan's probably talking about, you know, that when he talks about how luck has a long backstory.
So the next thing he talked about was luck favors motion. I love this one. And I think this may be the biggest lesson, that opportunity rarely knocks. It usually passes you by. The lawyers that seem lucky are the ones that are constantly moving. They're either meeting people, they're learning, they're reading, they're traveling, talked about that, trying new things, experimenting. I've been experimenting a lot with AI lately. So this is, kind of my thing.
We know.
Oh God, they hate it because I'm constantly sending them stuff. And I'm like, look what I did.
I mean, like even now your emails, and we're like, Mark, this is so bad, but that's okay. I think you're definitely talking. Is it like, oh, I've heard it said the luck surface area.
Yes. So movement creates opportunity. Opportunity creates luck. That's his general thesis here. And the way I kind of look at it is like, you're really just investing in yourself. I do this with my wife all the time. So my wife wants something done around the house and she wants to think it through, and she just thinks and thinks and thinks. Like we were moving some furniture the other day and I'm just sitting there like, I just start moving shit.
Oh,
I just grab it and I move it. And she goes, that didn't look right. Well, okay, let's move it again. That didn't look right. Well, okay, but I start moving.
It's
I don't.
very action.
She wants to think about it. She wants to get it right the first time. I'm like, no, we're just gonna move it. Let's just try this. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's what I think that this luck surface area idea, and of course I haven't read the book, but so I'm just maybe misconstruing what Morgan says here. But Jason Roberts once coined the phrase luck surface area, which is basically that your luck surface area is the total amount of exposure you have to potential opportunities at any given time. So basically, the more times that you expose yourself to more opportunities, the luckier that you're going to get. Because I think that, as you've said before, risk and opportunity are inseparable when it comes to luck.
Yes, absolutely. So is this his last point? No, get two more. No, I got two more. Okay, got it. I was starting to lose count of how many points he made here that I wrote down.
I think they're all very good, though. They're all very intertwined as well.
I think it's totally intertwined. We could probably do this podcast in 5 minutes, but hey. Hope is not a strategic plan. Hope is important emotionally, but businesses can't operate on hope. And I think this is the complicated part is emotion. This is kind of what struck me, is that we are emotional creatures. And a lot of time our emotions get intertwined with our decision making. And I think that is a big danger point. That is a big red flag when you see people making decisions based solely on emotion without really thinking it through, without thinking through the consequences, thinking through the second, third, and fourth level, decisions that may come out of whatever you're doing. And I think that's what I would say, and particularly when you have a lot of emotion going on, when you're all hyped up, this is a time not to make decisions. This is a time to do the exact opposite, to slow down, don't do anything, calm yourself down, don't yell at your boss like I know you ain't.
I was just going to say, now he's making digs.
Okay. I mean, not that you've yelled at me yet today.
Oh my God, you started it, but
you
also
started it.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Mark told me I was wrong when I was definitely right.
I didn't tell you were wrong. I just told you I already knew it. So.
Well, regardless, I think there is, I think you're advocating for slower decision making, but at some point, luck dictates that you must make a decision at some point.
There's nothing wrong with making quick decisions as long as they're thoughtful and rational and well thought out. Okay, because sometimes speed does matter, absolutely, but speed, emotion combined with speed can be deadly.
Understanding which decisions must be made now versus at a different time is one of the most important things a leader can actually learn how to do. I think that, Mark, one of the things that, again, translating this into things that affect our firm today, emotion, and we're like, oh, that's not us. We have strategic plans, we have rocks, we have quarterly goals. Everybody has a scorecard.
And then you'll get mad at me.
Oh,
yeah, there.
all of our scorecards can.
This is
be
where you could drop
tweaked.
another. I want to hear you cuss again.
I'm okay.
I want you to rank this to really make sure this is a
Scorecards can and should be tweaked, and if that needs to be an episode, so everybody's clear on my
Say what you were
philosophy.
thinking. Just say what you were thinking when you got mad at me earlier today.
No.
Use the
So
bus. I know that was the first word.
But
It was the first word forming on your lips.
Yep, there was. But what I really want to say is that where we get trapped in this at our level is, and not that it's any better than where anybody else is that our emotion is tied to our people. I hope so-and-so's going to have a better quarter next quarter. I hope they're going to really pull through that and get back to their A game, and we just keep hoping. And so you've been caught in these scenarios where our emotions are tied, and because we are invested in our people. We have a lot of long-tenured people, and I think that that's where our hope becomes a strategic plan at the firm.
Yes. So yes, I'm gonna quit hoping and start cracking away.
That's definitely a podcast. That is more.
That's a podcast.
Everyone's gonna have to contribute on how Mark can be held. It can help hold others accountable.
So I think I would wrap this up in saying that the question isn't, am I lucky or am I not lucky? The better question is, what am I going to do to increase my odds for tomorrow? Am I going to, what new relationships, am I going to try to develop or improve upon? Maybe I'm going to write a new article, which will cause me to think about something and maybe get some good publicity or something like that. Maybe we're going to do a really cool podcast that people will actually listen to. That's a good one.
Other than our spouses and our parents?
Yes, well, we're not talking about that, no. Here's a good one. Maybe let's hire somebody better next time. Maybe we do that.
Better's such a hard word. No, difficult adjective too.
I know. That's a sore subject right now too. I don't know, but eventually people will call it luck, and it's really not luck. It's really because you made better decisions and you applied force behind it.
What is that phrase, Mark? And I'm going to butcher it, but luck favors the prepared.
Yes. I can't remember who said it, but yes.
I think that that's at least an idiom where I think that that's the phrase that Morgan, I think, is trying to get around, what Maury's trying to get to, is that you have to be prepared before the opportunity comes. You're laying the groundwork day after day consistently, right? You're going to AAJ every year, or at least most times. You plan your vacations around AAJ. You plan it.
That really irritates a few people.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. And you mostly plan around Atticus, quarterly sessions and those types of things, as we both do, because you're being consistent about where you invest your time, so that one day that when that opportunity does come up, it'll look like luck, but it's been, something that you've been working on for a very long time.
Yes, absolutely. So when we come back, we're going to go through our 5 action steps going forward on how you might go about improving your luck.
This is Marc Whitehead, lawyer, entrepreneur, and business coach. Thanks for listening to the Successful Barrister podcast. If we've stirred your juices, hit me up with an email at mark@markwhitehead.com. Remember, Mark is spelled with a C. And get on the Successful Barrister newsletter mailing list. Even better, let's set up a call. I'd love to talk to you about working together, talk shop, or just shooting the breeze.
All right, Diana, let's finish this thing up strong. First of all, let's give us your best cuss word right now so we can make sure we get the explicit rating. Come on, I want to hear it.
It will not badger me.
I know you got it. I know you have it.
Well, you're not going to get that.
Damn it. Okay.
You did that for us, Mark.
I know. So our 5 action steps going forward. I'll take the first one. Stop waiting. Just do something. Ask yourself, what have you been hoping for that would actually require some action? I would like my Google rankings to improve. What are we going to do about it? We've got to take some action here. I would like to, I know a certain person who I think could refer me a lot of business. Maybe I should make an appointment to go talk to that person, or maybe I should figure out at least how to get close to that person. Or if this person is president of this organization, maybe I ought to go join that organization so I could develop a relationship with that person. Do something. What was it, Gordon Gekko? It wasn't Gordon Gekko. It was in the movie Wall Street. Gordon Gekko was the target, and Charlie Sheen's character, I forget Charlie Sheen's character, he specifically did a series of things to get next to Gordon Gekko. A lot of little sneaky little things. Can't remember exactly what it was. It's been a while since I watched it, but that kind of stuck to my mind. Like, he picked out a target and he went for it.
All right. So my second takeaway would be to increase your luck surface area. And this is when Mark was talking about how luck favors motion. And, one of the things that and how risk and opportunity can be inseparable. And then I think that one of the things we gloss over is that as attorneys, we tend to be pretty risk averse. Our job is to look for weaknesses and the downsides to every opportunity. But when you want to increase your luck, you just need to make sure you're just saying yes to things. Do the things that scare you the most. And, at some point, those things compound upon each other and your luck surface area will increase.
I'm going to drop a real random reference here, and you have to probably be my age, and this is a test if anybody gets the reference. There was a movie, Robin Williams movie called Dead Poets Society. Did you ever see that movie?
No, not all the way through.
Okay, well, pretty close to the beginning, there was a section where they were talking about surface area as it relates to literary worth. So if anybody has seen that movie and gets the reference, email me, marc@marcwhitehead.com, Marc spelled with a C. I want to see how many people are actually listening out there.
All right, Mark, what's your third takeaway?
So I would say replace hope with systems. Hope is not scalable. Systems are scalable. So every recurring problem deserves a documented process. I was working on that today. Something as simple as, having a pre-litigation meeting with a client. We were talking about this, and I noticed that my lawyers were all doing it in a rather random way. Well, let's not hope they get better. I just simply sat and wrote an outline for them. I was like, follow this outline. I created a system. Took me and Claude 10 minutes. It wasn't long. But do something. Stop replacing. I hope my lawyers will start doing this better with giving them a system to do, giving them a system to follow. Very simple.
A fourth takeaway would be to create your own luck. Morgan and Mark both went to the opportunity, whether that was Morgan who was knocking on doors asking for their litigation business, or Mark just literally getting on the plane. If you can't get on a plane because you're a new attorney,
get in the damn car.
Get in the car, email the people that you're in the same, group with. Most attorneys are in some association or another, whether that's the elder law association that your, local bar association has. But do the thing I think that scares you the most. If it terrifies you, that's probably the thing you should be doing, and just do that consistently.
Go snuggle up with Gordon Gekko. There you go.
I don't know that we can. That sounds like an HR violation.
It does, doesn't it?
Yep, but maybe we should just wrap up with number 5.
Okay. Number 5, and I love this one because I've done several podcasts on this now. Ask better questions. Instead of asking, why am I unlucky? You need to ask, what am I doing that successful lawyers do differently? Or vice versa. What do I need to do differently to emulate successful lawyers? What opportunities am I ignoring? Where should I put myself out today to be seen? So, luck isn't usually found. Luck is usually built. So, in closing, I like this chapter. It's reminding me that we've heard for years is that, those who planned are the luckiest people in the world. There you go. It can't be said any simpler than that. So I will say there was a couple of other chapters in the book that also stirred me, and we might be doing some subsequent, podcasts on this particular book. I really like the story, how he relates that the most successful people in the world started out as paper boys. Of course, that's his bias because he was a paper boy at his young, but he went through the whole process, and he related that whole lesson about how being a paper boy made a better lawyer out of him. I thought that was a great story that I might try to weave into a podcast sometime here in the future. Then you'll have read the book.
Possibly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not looking you don't look very confident in that.
Well, mainly because I don't like to buy books because I'm cheap, and I know you did this one on Audible. Of course, they can't borrow it. So, I mean,
We need to figure out a way that you can borrow books on Audible.
Yeah, but
Or you can borrow my
well,
phone.
there's something tactile about having the book, and actually research shows that that's actually better for you anyway, even better than an e-reader or those types of things, as those true.
Well, okay. With that, we got to get out of here. So I want to thank everybody for listening to the Successful Barrister podcast, where legal legends are made. I'm Mark,
And I'm Diana.
and together with a dynamic duo of law. So if you've enjoyed this podcast, make sure you go and give us a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcast, and hit that share button. Share this with a fellow overworked lawyer who might need a little inspiration. And remember to visit us at successfulbarrister.com for other materials that we have, or if you want to look at some other episodes out there. We are 101, 102. I've now lost track, but we have lots of prior episodes you can go back and dig into. And it's like a fine wine; they just get better all the time. I swear.
I may have to believe you on that.
So go back and re-listen to all 100 episodes. So just start there. Also, we like to thank our sponsor, Marc Whitehead and Associates. Visit us at www.disabilitydenials.com. And I forgot to give our email addresses, mark@markwhitehead.com. Mark is spelled with a C. And Diana at markwhitehead.com, also spelled with a C. So anyway, with that, go build a practice, not a prison.
Bye.